Russian military and defense infrastructure is once again under massive strikes. On November 25th and 26th, Ukrainian Defense Forces struck several strategic targets at once. These included factories producing missile components in Chipoxery, an aircraft repair facility in Taganrog, and oil terminals in Novorosis. The Chronicles of Explosive Nights in Russia in a report by diamin.
All of Russia is burning and crackling. Strikes are hitting key facilities of the Russian defense industry. For example, the Progress plant in chipoxery, that's in Chuvashia. There are fires there. The enterprise supplies the Russian army with Kometa receivers and antennas for the GLONASS, GPS, and Galileo systems. These very modules are installed on Shahed drones, Iskander-M missiles, Kalibr missiles, and are also attached to glide bombs. The extent of the damage at the facility is being clarified.
A strike on the Enterprise's territory was recorded, followed by a fire. The Enterprise manufactures components for missiles and UAV systems of electronic warfare.
The head of Chuvashia confirmed a massive drone attack and reported casualties in residential areas. However, for some reason, he did not mention the strike on Progress, even though there was plenty to talk about. Both eyewitnesses and analysts noted that the drones hit the plant's territory directly. This is already the third attack on the Enterprise since the beginning of the year. Ukrainian UAVs struck a number of important military targets in temporarily occupied territories. In Vasilivka, they hit the command post of a unit of Russia's 58th Combined Arms Army. In Mariupol, they struck a Tor M1 anti-aircraft missile system. In Ocheretine and Kamyanka, brigade-level ammunition depots exploded. In the Pokrovsk direction, they struck a location where enemy personnel were concentrated. There were also nighttime strikes on Russian oil refineries. On the night of November 27th, explosions thundered in Novokuybishevsk and, of course, in the area of the oil refinery. In the video, you can see at least 3 separate flashes in the sky. Most likely this was the work of Russian air defense. After that, the glow of a fire flickered over the territory of the oil refinery. The facility belongs to the Rosneft Group and is one of the largest in the Samara region. The local authorities have not commented on the attack so far. During the day in Chechnya, drones struck Russian National Guard military facilities. The Yakhmatseva regiment's compound in Grozny was also hit. According to preliminary information, a facility in the Baysangurov district of the Chechen capital was affected. Some sources specify that the target may have also been the facility where the 291st Guards Motor Rifle Regiment is stationed. Long-range drones of the Special Operations Forces were also operating separately. In Pokrovsk, a loitering munition drone precisely struck and destroyed a group of Russians who had entered an apartment building to regroup. In Kamyanka, Special Operations Forces blew up an ammunition depot belonging to Russia's 137th Motor Rifle Brigade. In addition, Ukrainian units struck the Sheksheris oil terminal in Novorossiysk. They hit oil storage stands and an S-400 air defense missile launcher, as well as the Tuapse oil refinery, one of the main fuel supply enterprises for Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Due to the precise strike on the oil refinery in Krasnodar Krai, the fuel situation in Crimea has rapidly deteriorated. Local residents report a shortage of A95 gasoline. Chats across the peninsula are filled with complaints about empty gas stations.
What's going on with the gasoline again? A ton is starting to go down. Could you please tell me where in the city you can still find 95 now? I drove past several Atan stations, only available with coupons.
Ukrainian Defense Forces continue to systematically strike Russia's defense industry, aircraft repair centers, ammunition depots, logistics, and energy sector. In just 2 days, more than a dozen strategic targets have been hit, ranging from missile component manufacturing to aircraft repairs, long-range aviation, and oil terminals. Daniil Dayomin, details, Inter TV channel, Marathon, United News.
They cover our infantry in the Pokrovsk direction, and it is extremely rare to capture their combat work on film. This is due to the proximity of the enemy and the constant hunt for the multi-ton vehicles. We're talking about tanks and tank crews, specifically the soldiers of the 32nd Separate Mechanized Brigade. Our war correspondent Yehor Romaklo managed to visit a firing position and find out how this armored equipment is currently being used.
on one of the most difficult sectors of the front. During the report, you'll see a QR code and a card number that you can use to support the 32nd Brigade Tank Crew's fundraiser for pickup trucks. Join in.
Right now, they're putting up a net to make it safer. It follows our engineers around. Well done.
The Pokrovsk direction greets us with a fiery dawn. Although this beauty is overshadowed by the danger nearby, this time we got a rare chance to witness firsthand the work of Ukrainian tank crews, the soldiers of the 32nd Separate Mechanized Brigade. However, the route is not an easy one. We have to leave the car behind and continue on foot across fields that are already covered with frost in the morning. Everything reminds us that winter is approaching. We didn't immediately realize that we had already reached the position. This is the current reality of war, the real situation. The use of tanks on the front line. It's very hard to tell that there's a tank behind you because it's camouflaged as much as possible since the enemy is actively searching for them. And tanks are used like this, from concealed positions, firing like artillery. Camouflage is a matter of survival. After all, the enemy is less than 5 kilometers away, and now this is a full-fledged kill zone, as they call it. That's why the soldiers have to work very quickly. Right now, there's a planned target. Another 125mm shell to add to that.
That's it, just like camouflage.
Now we need to quickly camouflage ourselves and move away from the tank because the enemy could have spotted the shot from the sky. Fortunately, not this time. And now we can talk to the crew, in particular with the commander of this vehicle, whose call sign is Poltava. The man started out in the infantry but then got the chance to switch to armor. He says that tanks in 2022 and now are two completely different combat units.
This, let's say, is like a sniper rifle. At the moment, most are using close positions because with the latest technologies, FPV drones are flying around and can take you out on the approach. But if you're in a close position, have a good crew, stay camouflaged and hold your ground, then we work perfectly.
Now, from close positions, tanks are firing at distances of over 10 kilometers. They strike infantry, Russian fortifications, and sometimes equipment. Of course, there are also missions where they go out into the field. However, that's an incredible risk, which they try to reduce through modifications.
We use electronic warfare tools, including camouflage, anti-drone defenses, and we adapt to the situation, conducting combat operations in the current conditions of modern warfare.
On the way back, a vivid reminder that the enemy uses an enormous number of drones in this direction was our encounter with a Russian Molnia. But while you can still hide from drones under a net or protect yourself with electronic warfare, the enemy has another extremely dangerous means of attack. This is what a crater from a guided aerial bomb looks like. The Russians drop hundreds of them on Donetsk region every day. And here you can even see a wing from a cab still left behind. It's with the help of these wings that they maneuver. With this kind of weapon, the Russians are destroying everything here, logistical routes, civilian buildings, and they're also striking at the positions of our defenders. But despite this, they continue to hold the defense firmly. In particular, the soldiers of the 32nd who are fighting on the right flank of the Pokrovsk direction.
We really try not to let the enemy enter the settlement at all because absolutely...
We still have more than one position there, quite a lot. We've basically been holding our ground since we first came in. Our guys are such pros now in firefights, they practically kill the enemy, then hide the bodies so the next group coming through doesn't see the dead there.
But ahead of us, more Russian assaults mean more work for the tanks, but without well-organized logistics, there won't be any work done. You have to deliver ammunition, spare parts, and food. Most often pickups are used for this.
Ukrainian Octopus interceptor drones will be produced in the United Kingdom. Ukraine and the United Kingdom have signed the corresponding agreement, announced Defense Minister Denis Shmyhal. He emphasized that these drones have proven their effectiveness in combating Shaheds. The production is planned to be large-scale, about several thousand units per month. After that, the interceptor drones will be delivered to Ukraine to strengthen air defense.